Tauratopsis dawni, a small jellyfish found throughout the Mediterranean, has the ability to do something that would seem impossible, and has been the talk for thousands of years: immortality. The Tauratopsis dawni does this by reverting back to an earlier stage of their life cycle if they become damaged. And they are able to do this over and over again, theoretically meaning they have a never-ending life, and you or your family may be joining them in a life of endlessness. Welcome to the world of transhumanism. The ability to live forever is a thought most of us have probably pondered on, but how likely is this to become a reality? While the notion is called transhumanism, which is the theory that through technology and advanced medical intervention, humans will be able to live indefinitely, or at least significantly prolong our life expectancy. But this isn't some outrageous belief. Extending human life is already happening in small forms. Just think about it. The life expectancy of humans 200 years ago was anything from 30 to 40. Now in most developed countries, it's over 80. This is part due to medical advancements such as pacemakers, robotic surgery, and life support machines. But we are talking about immortality here, and so far we're not even close to achieving that, since very little research is being conducted on making this happen. That's why transhumanists, people who support the development of this, have formed their own party. In fact, one of the founding members of this movement is Zoltan Istvan from California, who formed the Transhumanist Party and ran for president in the 2016 US presidential election. He believes by cutting military spending, we could conquer human aging within the next decade, and that simply accepting that we age and die is not the way it should be. So what technologies and future predictions are these people gearing towards, if these thoughts are to become a reality? Let's take a look at the processes that are taking place to create a potential immortal human. Cryogenics. Cryogenics is actually one of the first ventures into prolonging life. The low temperature, usually around minus 196 degree liquid nitrogen chambers, are used to store and maintain people who hope that in the future we will be advanced enough to revive them, and they will wake up, say 1,000 years from now, as if they had just been sleeping. To a transhumanist, this technology is of particular importance, as a lot of research has already gone into it, and it's now believed that the brain can potentially retain memory and personality while frozen, and that one day, scientists will be able to successfully defrost the bodies and heal them of their ailments, before bringing them back to life. It would, however, require significant advances in molecule nanotechnology to reboot the metabolism and kickstart the chemical reactions within cells. Transhumanists are convinced that it's only a matter of time before this becomes available, and for the people who are frozen, well, they can pretty much wait forever. Gene therapy. Gene therapy is an experimental technique that uses genes to prevent or treat certain diseases. This is in its very early stages, but scientists are working on techniques that could replace a mutated gene with a healthy copy of that gene, or deactivate a bad gene that is malfunctioning, or introduce a new gene to help fight a disease. At the moment, it's a risky technique, but with advances in science, this could have the ability to wipe inherited diseases, some cancers and viruses. In the future, gene therapy and genetic engineering could allow humans to live comfortably in any environment and gain immunity to even the most deadly diseases. And people are working hard on making this a reality. Cybernetics. Easily the most interesting of all is cybernetics, a technique that we are already seeing an increase in. Take Stan Larkin from Michigan as an example, who lived over 18 months with a prosthetic heart that he carried around in a backpack. These things a few decades ago would only be seen in movies. Now it's become a reality, and a fast-growing one. Those in favour of taking things a step further say that cybernetics has endless possibilities, and will get to a stage where people needing organ transplants will not have to wait for a donor, but instead will be fitted with a robotic one. Blood transfusions will be performed with artificial blood, and prosthetic limbs will have the same seamless functions as the real thing. Once we've gotten to a competent stage of replacing failing organs and limbs, transhumanists want to see the same techniques being used to enhance as opposed to treat. Legs that never get tired, and eyes that can see in the dark. Who's to say in 100 years, people will be signing up to have parts of their body that are perfectly fine, replaced with technology that would be far better than biology, and this could apply to the brain. Imagine that advances in technology enable us to wake up in the morning and choose how our minds will perform, by selecting a cognitive enhancing drug or by programming our cyberbrain. In essence, everything that fails in our bodies could potentially be fixed or replaced, and if nothing needs fixing, then it can be made 10 times better. To transhumanists, these small steps that are currently being taken are the way forward in creating an everlasting race. But what about your brain? Although the cyborg body will not age and deteriorate, the brain definitely will. So what's in store for that? Well, this is where things get complicated. Let's not get too technical, but the brain is a collection of electrical signals that could be converted to a digital form. And this isn't a theory. Scientists have already programmed the exact layout of a worm's brain into a robot. And in 2013, a mouse that was trained to do a simple task had its memory recorded for that specific action. Over time, the mouse naturally forgot about this action, and scientists injected the synthetic memory that they had obtained into the mouse's brain, and it performed the forgotten task first time around. Pretty incredible. Michio Kaku believes over time this same process will be used to cure Alzheimer's by pushing a button on a pre-recorded memory box that will pump the memory into the brain for it to be remembered. But memories and actions are a result of all of these chemical reactions and signals in the brain. Consciousness, on the other hand, which would be essential in creating a robotic immortal human, cannot be grasped or turned into any kind of code. And even if this was figured out, how would that work in terms of your awareness? Surely you couldn't be in two places at the same time. So the bottom line is, transferring human memories, thoughts and emotions that are tangible actions that take place in the brain can and most likely will be fully transferable from their biological state to a computer eventually. It would seem that thousands of years down the line, consciousness would be the only thing stopping humans living forever. Because just ask yourself, what is consciousness? And you will soon realize how impossible it is to put into words, let alone capture and replicate. At least certainly not anytime soon. What is the future? So it's the year 3000, and we have somehow figured out how to store consciousness and have fully functioning robotic bodies, or are living inside a virtual world. Now what? If we do manage to end up with a world free of illnesses and diseases, a world that can just replace things in our bodies when they go wrong, wouldn't we be severely overpopulated, even if procreation was limited? If nobody died, the natural line of families would stagnate. There would be no family tree where you could trace back your ancestors, as they would all still be alive, unless they wanted to die, in which case the only solution would be suicide. If things did get out of hand, is it possible that we would have no personalities of our own? Would we all look the same in pursuit of what we perceive as perfection, and would we become dehumanized and robotic? Would there be no gifted, talented individuals, as technically everybody could become one? When you look at it this way, and of course this is a worst case scenario, is it really such a great thing to live forever? It definitely would be a miracle to eradicate the deadly diseases that cut so many lives short, but keeping us alive forever. Look at it this way, wanting to live forever on this planet, you could say is stopping us from going to the next stage, which, beliefs aside, is still the biggest mystery of all. What happens after we die? Now, I'm not saying it is, but why live forever if death serves a purpose that we do not and never will understand? I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.